to the DolphinsTalk.com podcast, the most listened to daily Miami Dolphins podcast on the internet.
Miami's got the Dolphins, the greatest of all.
Come on, Dolphins fans. Time to fins up.
We're in the air, we're on the ground, we're always in control. And when you say Miami, you're talking Super Bowl. Cause we're the Miami Dolphins, Miami Dolphins, Miami Dolphins number one. Miami Dolphins, Miami Dolphins, Miami Dolphins number one.
Good afternoon, Miami Dolphins fans. How are you today? And thank you for listening to the DolphinsTalk.com podcast on this Monday, October the 21st. I'm your host, Mike Oliva, flying solo today. Didn't plan on having a show today, but when the news broke regarding Tua, and then Tua met with the media in a very interesting press conference, to say the least, I wanted to pop on and do a quick show and just share some of my thoughts. So that's why we're here today to talk about that. But before I get to anything with Tua in the press conference, a quick word from the sponsor of today's show.
The DolphinsTalk.com podcast network is sponsored by Caneswear. Caneswear is the place to go for officially licensed apparel for the Miami Dolphins, Miami Heat, the Hurricanes, Florida Panthers, and all of the professional and college teams in South Florida. Looking for the latest jersey, a birthday gift, or the newest hat to hit the market of your favorite South Florida team? Check out Caneswear for their overwhelming selection of sports apparel. Located at 2655 South University Drive, Davie, Florida, Caneswear has it all. Not in South Florida? No worries. Visit Caneswear.com to shop their inventory from the comfort of your home, and they'll ship it to you. International fans, too. Caneswear.com is the spot that Miami fans shop. That's Caneswear.com, Caneswear.com.
Okay, so before we start, I do suggest everyone go to the Miami Dolphins official YouTube page and watch this press conference with their own eyes and actually hear it themselves, because I can share with you what was said and share with you what he said today and how he answered the questions, but I can't put it in the tone that he answered the questions in, because this was beyond salty Tua today. It's a little bit angry Tua today, and everyone should see how he answered this themselves. But so just wanted to say that up front. Because for a guy who wants to play, who's returning to play this weekend, didn't sound like a happy man today. But here's a few of the things he said at the press conference. Tua said he had no retirement talks after this most recent concussion. Tua said he remembers everything about the night of the concussion, except for a few moments as he was walking off the field right after it took place. Tua said he has been symptom-free since the day after his latest concussion. So it was a Thursday night game. He's saying as of that Friday morning, he has been symptom-free. Tua, he was asked about the call of the Miami Dolphins to put him on IR. Why they put him on IR? Tua said, and I quote, I think the team did what was in the best interest of me. Having a substantial amount of time would have been good for me, so I think they did what was best to protect me from myself. True, I would agree with that. Tua then said he will not wear a Guardian cap when he returns to the field. And when asked why he's not going to wear it, he said it was a personal choice. Talk about more about that later. Tua said he is not putting any pressure on himself to save the team. Tua said he needs to be more available to his team, meaning get hurt less. Tua said he hasn't paid any attention to the outside noise. Tua said he's very excited to return to the field. Tua said in order to protect himself, he must more or less adjust his entire playing style. And Tua said running as a quarterback has always been a key part of his game, heading all the way back to high school. Tua was asked about what he's learned through this latest concussion process, and he gave a very snarky and sarcastic answer, kind of uncalled for, really, where he said, to quote, that it's not good to get concussions. Yeah, I know, Tua. That's not what the guy was asking, but okay. You want to be snarky, be snarky. Tua was then asked about, all the fans of the Miami Dolphins who worry about him having one more concussion and now worry about him being hurt again, that he's going to return to the field, which is a nice question. Tua said, I appreciate your concern. I really do. I love this game, and I love it to the death of me. Tua also said he does not want to be known for this. He goes, no, I don't. But those are the cards I have been dealt. I hate that it happened, but we don't look at boxers the same way. We don't look at hockey players the same way. Timeout here. Timeout. Tua, yes, we do. You never heard of punch-drunk boxers. You never heard of Muhammad Ali, and everyone said he took one too many shots to the head, which caused his issues later in life. And everyone, you got to go back to the 70s and into the 60s, the loopy hockey players, because they weren't mandated to wear headgear and stuff like we do. I think this is a situation where Tua, being so young, just doesn't have the history or doesn't understand the history of other sports. Chuck Liddell, UFC, he wanted to keep fighting, but it was clear he was having some sort of head trauma as he got older and the years went on. They had to stop him from fighting. So this does happen in other sports. It's not whataboutism that Tua is trying to play her. What about them? What about them? What about them? They do step in other sports and protect the athlete from himself. So I think Tua is a little misguided there. And again, probably because of his age, but he's just wrong. I don't know any other way to say he's just wrong. But then the press conference really took a left turn. When Tua was asked how much risk he is putting himself through by continuing to play, Tua said he is willing to play the odds. And I quote, "How much risk do we take when we get up in the morning and drive to work? You can get in a car accident. Everything takes risks." He went on to say, "If you get off of your bed the wrong way, you risk spraining your ankle." What? What the hell are we doing here, Tua? That is a total false equivalent. Okay. That I know you went to Alabama, not exactly Harvard, but come on, bro. You got to be smarter than this. For one, a sprained ankle won't make you a vegetable later in life eating pea soup, at the age of 45 through a straw. It's just, that's second, when I drive a car or when anyone drives a car, there's not other cars on the road purposely aiming and trying to hit me to hurt me. Opposed when you're a football player, i.e. a quarterback, and the ball's in your hand, you have 11 top flight athletes wanting to tackle you and bring you down, which is extremely dangerous. That was the stupidest two analogies that he could have said to her. That's just insanely stupid. There's levels to this, and it's a total false. Yes, there's risks in all aspects of life, but don't compare spraining an ankle because you stepped out of bed the wrong way to getting a concussion on a football field. Come on, man. Don't insult our intelligence. And that was mainly most of what he said at the press conference. But again, it was the tone he answered the question in. It was the attitude he had answering these questions. There's often been jokes about Salty Tua. Today, Salty Tua is dead. We saw pissed off Tua. And I think what we saw was a guy who's been coached up on what to say and what not to say. And that came through, and I think why he did have so much attitude. And let me explain. Tua's time in Miami is going to end ugly. And I don't know when it's going to end. And I'm not talking about him being hurt on the field. I'm talking about when the team makes the call to move on from him and they no longer want him to be their starting quarterback. That is going to be a very ugly ending. And I think the Miami Dolphins organizations and the powers that be up top, they know it, that it will be ugly. And I'm sure Tua and his agents, that his agents have told him as well, this is going to be ugly because there's a ton of money at stake here. And he wants all the money Tua. And then you got the Miami Dolphins who want to protect themselves. They want to protect as much of that money as possible in this new contract they give him. Because they probably thought the concussion issue was a thing of the past. Last year, he protected himself. He put on weight. He slid. Didn't hold on to the ball long. We're past it. This year, in week 2, he won't slide, runs into a player, has a routine hit, has a concussion. This is not about the play on the field. This is all to do about his ability to stay healthy and money. It's all about money. And I think that's why he knows this, Tua, and why we saw this angry Tua today at the media session. The Miami Dolphins organization cannot be a successful organization with a quarterback who won't slide. Today was complaining about having to change his style of play. at his media session and also gets multiple concussions on routine hits. Sorry if I'm just cutting right to the chase and I'm being blunt, but that really is the fact of the matter of it. And it's going to be tough on fans when that time comes. And I don't know when that time is going to come, but it's going to come sooner rather than later. Fans are going to get mad, and it's going to be an ugly split. It's going to be like when San Francisco moved on from Joe Montana back in the day. But instead of moving on from a guy who won 3 Super Bowls and was in his 30s, Miami is going to be moving on from a kid in his 20s that hasn't won anything. He's just popular with certain fans. And, that's a great analogy that I actually got from Patrick Mullen. So I want to give him credit for that because he's 100% right. This is going to end up with lawyers, and that they're going to be going over that contract with a fine-tooth comb on how much money Miami must pay him and how much money Tua can get. And the date to keep in mind is March 14th of this year. Tua is due $54 million guaranteed. And there will be a battle prior to March 14th. And it may just be the first of many battles, because if Tua is on the roster at 12:01 a.m. March 14th, he gets $54 million guaranteed, which means the Dolphins, if they want to move on from him, they can prior to March 14th, which is not that far away. So when Tua is talking to the press, and if he were to even hint at, I thought about maybe hanging it up and retiring. And yeah, I did have some side effects like a week after the concussion and blah, blah, blah. The Dolphins and their lawyers will use that against him when it comes to sort of figuring out that contract and how much he is owed. So when Tua aggressively said he remembers almost everything of the night of the concussion, even if he doesn't, I'm sure he was told to say that. And when someone asked, and then when that total innocent questions about, the fans are worried about you, they don't want to see you get hurt, he answers it angrily. And it's like, why? Here's the deal. I want to give a ton of credit to the local South Florida media. They were awesome today at this media session. The South Florida media, everyone, Palm Beach Post, Miami Herald, Sun Sentinel, from all the local news channels on TV, they were outstanding. They asked every relevant question. They asked every tough question. They got out every question we needed answers to. I want to give extra credit to Chris Perkins, who was a pit bull at this media session, who just, if something wasn't asked, he was going to make sure it got asked. So the local South Florida media did an outstanding job. So kudos to them at this media session. But, when it comes to Tua, sorry, not sorry that you were annoyed. You took a job as an NFL starting quarterback, and it's a very high-profile job. You took the $250 million contract. And what comes with that, a high-profile job that's going to pay you $250 million, is, yes, you're going to have to face the media, face the music, and answer tough questions. You can be pissy about it, but I don't know why you're pissy. You're coming back to play. You just signed a mega deal, and, sorry that you've had 3 concussions or maybe 4, probably more, but you're the face of the franchise and people are worried about you. Just answer basic questions and drop the attitude. Yeah, Tua's got dealt a shitty hand in life with all these concussions, but he's also got dealt a great hand in which he has made more money before the age of 30 than most people will ever see in their life. So he needs to try and have a little bit of perspective here and not be pissed off at the media and pissed off at everything right now in the world. And it was beyond frustrating as a fan of the Dolphins is you see someone like Tua, who's had multiple concussions, the whole fencing situation where his hands lock up and freeze up, which almost no other players have when they get a concussion. When asked if he's going to wear a Guardian helmet, the cap was made for people just like him who have these type of issues, and he says he's not going to wear it, and the best answer he can give is it's a personal choice. What? It's there to protect your health, dude. It's there to help protect your brain. And you're not going to wear it, and the best answer you give is it's a personal choice? Give me a break. If he's not going to help himself, then I think most fans are going to be like, I feel bad for you. I feel sorry for you. I want to see you do well. But if you're not going to protect yourself and help yourself the best way possible and do everything possible to protect yourself, and I think they say per the stats, if you wear that type of helmet, you get an extra 10 to 15% of protection or something along there. I might not have those numbers 100% accurate. You get my point. You get an extra 10 or 15% of extra protection. And for this guy, with all the issues he's been through, he's not going to wear it? You kidding me? It's like, Here's the deal. By not wearing it, it just makes the Miami Dolphins call to move on from Tua that much easier. Because if he's not going to protect himself and he's not going to do everything possible that he can do to protect him, why should he expect the Miami Dolphins to do their part then? And fans of the Dolphins have rallied around Tua and this kid since day one. They've put him on a pedestal like no other athlete I've seen in my life. No matter how bad he's played at times, they have his back. And he won't take one extra step of precaution that Devon Achane, his own running back, took this weekend versus the Colts. And he's only had one known concussion in his life that we know of, and he's wearing the Guardian cap. At the end of the day, it's his body, his choice for Tua. And you can take all the risk or no risk, that any risk he wants to take. But when it comes to the money, that's up to the Miami Dolphins, and they can move on from him, and they will. And if he's not going to wear the cap, I think a lot of fans have the feeling they're just not going to feel bad about it at this point. Because if he won't help himself, then how can you expect fans to continue to feel sorry for the kid when the same injury happens over and over and over and over again? It's like Tua's own car analogy. If someone gets in 5 car accidents and you're still not wearing a seatbelt and you continue to not wear a seatbelt, if you get in the 6th car accident, no one's going to feel sorry for you because you should know better by now. Or his other analogy, if you fall out of bed 5 times and sprain your ankle and you refuse to put rails on your bed, because if someone's falling out of bed that much where they're spraining their ankle, they clearly have some type of an issue. If you don't put rails on your bed to protect yourself, then that's on you at this point. So if Tua has another concussion, which might be avoidable by wearing the Guardian cap, then what's the old saying? You can't fix stupid. You literally can't fix stupid. Or what's like the other saying? What's the definition of insanity? Is just doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting a different result. Not wearing the Guardian cap, I think, is totally foolish. It's just, and the way he answered it was such like, no, I'm not going to wear that. It's a personal choice. Like, who are you to even ask me that question? Oh, come on, man. That's the part where he really rubbed me the wrong way. And I know he rubbed a lot of fans the wrong way with his media session. Look, I like Tua. Seems like a great guy, great human being. And he's a pretty good quarterback at the end of the day. Is he top 5 or top 3? No, he's not that, but he's good enough, pretty good. But he can lose the attitude at the media sessions and don't play you can get a concussion. It's just as dangerous as, driving a car or spraining your or spraining your ankle as you get out of bed. Don't insult our intelligence too, okay? Again, you went to Alabama, not Harvard. Don't insult all of our intelligence. You've made hundreds of millions of dollars, and this fan base is stuck by you through thick and thin. Don't talk down to us, and don't be pissy answering fair questions about your situation, which everyone is rooting for you about. It's just really a bad look for Tua. It's a horrible look, and I thought this whole media session was not his finest hour. It really just was not his finest hour. He should have stood up there, humbled, and say, I'm so happy I can come back and play the sport I love. And for all the people out there worrying about me, thank you. It means so much. And even if he's not going to wear the Guardian cap, there's a better way to answer that question. Say I looked into it. I understand the pros and the cons. At this point, I've talked to all the people necessary. I just don't think I'm ready to wear it. There's a way to answer that and not come off like an asshole. That's the long and short of it. And he came off like an asshole a lot in his press conference. And, I know, the diehard fans, the sicko fans who just can't ever criticize Tua about anything. Nothing's ever his fault. He walks on water. They don't see that and they never will. But your normal rank and file fan who has, common sense is going to see that this was not his finest hour today. And if he had a mulligan, I think maybe not right now because it's only a few hours after it happened, but he probably want to redo this entire thing. It was interesting. I don't know any other word to say. It was just interesting because we've never seen him be this kind of moody, pissy, angry, mad. And nobody understands why he's acting that way because he kind of put himself in this whole situation by not sliding versus the Bills. When you've got that many concussions, you should slide. So, yeah, you're going to be asked about it. If you don't, then hand back the money. Don't be a starting quarterback. Go get a private sector job where you work in a cubicle all day. If you're going to work and be as an NFL starting quarterback and take the hundreds of millions of dollars, then, yeah, you got to answer the questions. It comes with the territory. All right, that's all for today's show. Thank you all for listening. Be sure to check out the website, DolphinsTalk.com, for all latest And don't forget about Dolphins Talk Extra, patreon.com/DolphinsTalk. Josh and Aaron, they're going to be back with a show later tonight, Monday evening. So be sure to watch them and listen to them. And also Tuesday morning, Tom Ernest will drop his solo show as well. Everyone have a great Monday night. We'll talk to you again after a while. And folks, don't forget, we must put an end to highway profanity.